Hey everyone, Ben here and welcome back to the channel. Last week I saw a video from Chris Rogers of CR Sim Racing talking about sim racing burnout and mental health. In the video, Chris talks about the ways he deals with those times when he feels frustrated or fed up with sim racing, and the first points he makes in the video really resonated with me. He describes his experience of first getting into iRacing and becoming slightly obsessed with building up his I rating, that 4-digit number which notionally reflects how good you are at the game. I had exactly the same experience, and like Chris, it would even get to the point where I'd be reluctant to race too many times in case I lost I rating, and when inevitably I did, I'd be disproportionately gutted or annoyed. Now, more recently, I've consciously stopped thinking about my I rating at all in order to get past this, but Chris's video got me thinking. What if we're all just plain wrong about the point of I rating and what it really means to us as sim racers? As I mentioned earlier, it's easy to imagine that on the face of it, your I rating is like your score in the game, and that as such it represents how good or bad you are at iRacing. And in a way, I suppose over time it does, and for those looking to measure themselves against other sim racers, it can be a bit of a proxy for how fast you are, or rather, how good you are at achieving good race results, which can be as much about driving clean and consistent as it is driving fast. But in a couple of minutes, I'm going to outline why I don't think that is the reason to care about I rating. But before we can get there, take a look at this awesome graph which shows a distribution of I rating across the iRacing player base as of mid-2021. It highlights that the vast majority of players have an I rating between 0.8k and 1.6k. But that still begs the question, does it really matter where you sit within this 800 I rating window? Well, I think it does, but not for the reasons you might think. In terms of speed or ability, everyone who's regularly raced in iRacing knows you can easily drop 100 in your I rating in a couple of bad races through zero fault of your own. So my bet is most players in this window are constantly jockeying between the low to mid 1000s. It doesn't mean you're getting faster or slower, better or worse, it's just the way it goes. Ideally over time, those good and bad races even out and your I rating becomes a little bit less erratic. But for most people, you'll be sitting within that window of 0.8k and 1.6k. Because most of us aren't aspiring to be Max Verstappen, or even some of the fantastic sim racing YouTubers who pour hours into the sim. No, the majority of us sim race alongside our jobs, raising a family or our other hobbies and interests. And this is why I rating matters. Instead of stressing out about increasing it by every last point, it's far better to just focus on enjoying your racing. Because in tracking our results over time and helping to identify the level at which we generally race, our I rating comes as close as it's reasonably possible to guaranteeing us a closely matched grid of fellow sim racers to compete against. It really does not matter whether the strength of field is 1k or 1.6k. Sure, there might be a little ego stroke if it's towards the upper end of that range. But the main thing is it's helping deliver for you a close and competitive race in the little spare time that you have. This is particularly important in the most populated series like the GT3 Fixed, Ferrari Fixed Challenge and the Formula 4, where there are often hundreds of drivers signed up at peak times. It means the system can really accurately match you with drivers of similar pace and racing records. For example, I've been blown away by how closely matched the pace has been in the Ferrari Fixed series this season, with tenths of a second separating the top 10 of the grid. So while it's absolutely fine to focus on improving your I rating if that's what you're really genuinely interested in, I think Chris is spot on. Don't stress over your I rating, focus instead on enjoying your racing and letting your I rating sort itself out. When you do that, you'll find that I rating is really about providing the game a measure of your realistic pace and allowing it to match you with other similar skilled players, which ultimately provides absolutely awesome racing. And if you want to see just how awesome the racing can be, check out this F4 race from earlier this season. It's properly brilliant.